Call this meeting to order of the Apple Valley Economic Development Authority. First item of this is the meeting of November 13th, 2025. First order of business is the approval of tonight's agenda. Any changes from staff?
Mr. President, Commissioners, no changes to tonight's agenda.
From the authority? Move approval.
Second.
Moved and seconded. In favor? Aye.
Aye.
That passes unanimously. The consent agenda, number 3. Any items that staff needs pulled? The authority? Motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Kupai and Bergman. In favor?
Aye.
That also passes. Our regular agenda is item number 4A, a resolution of support for allocation. Mr. Benetti?
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the Commission. We have before you tonight a resolution of support. Excuse me, hopefully I got that. Yep, thank you. We have a resolution of support for pool TIF funds for the Valley Station Apartments. I'm going to be very quickly. I'm sure most of you are aware of the site location, 15584 Gaslight Drive, legally described as Lot 1, Block 2, Carroll Center, 4th Edition. Again, at the southeast corner of Gaslight and 155th, right south of the transit station, Red Robin, and the Floor and Decor. So, quick background: 3.1 acre site has been owned by the EDA since 1997. February 99, the EDA entered into a lease agreement with MVTA to operate a transit station at that site. I didn't do anything. So they entered into a lease agreement for a park and ride site. July 2024, about a year ago, the Met Council and MVTA quitclaimed those leasehold interests and any ownership rights to the site. And around that time, we issued an RFP for the redevelopment of the site. Real Estate Equities was chosen to be the preferred developer of a 5-story, 140-unit affordable workforce housing project, and a PA was also executed between the EDA and REE. September 3rd, 2025, just a few months ago, Planning Commission recommended approval, and this board, or the City Council approved for the 144-unit revised project. So just a quick site plan, again, just shows the outline of the new facility on the site, just an architectural rendering of what was approved. Right now, the project is estimated to be at $55 million.
This is a memory test, Tim.
I know, and I don't have my notes in front of me. Pardon me. The developer has applied to Dakota County CDA for an allocation of 4%, what they refer to as low-income housing tax credits. The developer states that due to prevailing wage requirements, unique design of the project, increased building and labor costs, higher interest rates, this is resulting in about a $6 million plus financing gap. To help close this gap, the developer, actually the city staff, helped secure an $808,000 Met Council Livable Communities Demonstration Account grant. We actually asked for 1.1, we got 808, which we thought was remarkable. The city is committing approximately 1.25 million of our local affordable housing, as we refer to them as LAHA funds. So we're committing about 750 from 2025, another 500,000 projected from our 2026 funds. Under our LAHA agreement with the county, we can use those LAHA funds to help with closing a gap or gap assistance in this case. But despite this, contributions from both the grant and the LAHA funds were still short about $4 million. So the developer is going before the Dakota County CDA board to ask for an additional financial assistance, which would be through the means of a TIF number 11 PENOC, which some of you may have remembered this from years ago. This was created back in 2001, certified April 2002. It decertifies in a few years from now in December of 2029. It consists of a number of properties in the city, starting with the Timbers or the PENOC Place Senior Housing, Remington Cove Apartments, Harrelson Apartments, Legacy Square condos, and Hearthstone. Under this TIF 11, PennOC, it establishes a means to provide for support for affordable housing, encourage more affordable housing throughout the community, also provide for assistance as needed. It's generated over 18 million of funding up to this point. Approximately 8 million of that has been spent back into the city through either private or CDA-sponsored development. The current balance is over $11 million, which is pretty healthy. The CDA has asked Northland Finance to provide an independent financial analysis. Northland is also our own financial group, but they're providing an independent financial analysis to determine what may be fair or reasonable TIF allocation in this case. This resolution tonight does not ask you to support a specific fund, but simply ask to convey your support and encouragement for the board to authorize an allocation of pool TIF funds from this number 11 PennOC TIF district. And again, that would be to be determined by the board. So before you tonight is just that resolution of support. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer any of those. We also have Lisa Alfson and Maggie Dykes from the CDA here to answer any questions if you have any from them.
Mr. Rogan.
Mr. Vanetti, do we have to have that on again? Okay, so when we did the PennOC, the one on PennOC and Cedar Avenue coming into town, we at one point asked for a set number of years. And for us to finalize that project, we had to add another 10 years to it for 25 years. Now, is this gonna have a running date on it when it stops, or is it gonna be a short term, or is it gonna drag it out put that into a TIF district for 25 years? No,
It does not.
it doesn't have it. The dollar amount is just there for the use
Correct.
whatever.
Yes, so it decertifies, hopefully I got the right date, December 2029.
See how I wave Maggie up because it looked like she might have an answer.
Sorry, hi, Maggie Dykes, Dakota County CDA. Nice to see you all. Thanks for having us here tonight. Although I think we invited ourselves. As Tim stated, and as you may be aware, the TIF district was created back in 2001. It ends in 2029. That's because it's 26 years from the time that the district is certified and starts generating increment. So we've used this increment, at several developments throughout Apple Valley. It does not get spent outside of Apple Valley. So it's only for projects inside of the city. And to Commissioner Bergman's question, the timeline is 2029, period, end of story. That's when it's over.
That's when it's over?
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Rupa?
Generally, when we looked at this project way back when on your timeline, right, we all were, this was the right project for the site, but the other thing that was with this is that this was the one developer who wasn't asking for additional assistance, and I just don't want that to go silent here because I don't know the answer to this. You know, have the requirements and the site changed thus that no matter which developer was working this project, we would have a gap, or is this unique to this developer? Would be my one question. And I don't know we need these answered today. Like, we can deal with a resolution saying we support using the TIF district, but I think these are other answers that I at least would like to have as we work our way through and as Northland does their analysis and that kind of thing. So I'm not gonna put you on the spot with questions you don't know the answer to, but I think to maybe put it back to the developer to say we'd like to understand where the gap came from. And maybe for Maggie or Northland, if we're looking at more, well, let me ask the questions in this order. 2028 or 9 hits, this district gets decertified. What happens to the $11 million that sits in the district?
Commissioner Hoopa and board, the CDA retains those funds, and those funds will be used for other affordable housing developments in Apple Valley.
So they don't just magically go away somewhere, but
They
we do dip into a resource that CDA exclusively controls. Is that correct?
That's correct. And yes, we work with the city, obviously, to provide financing. We also use it on our own developments to maintain the quality developments that you all come to expect from the CDA. So that's where the funds are going.
Are there other, part of this project has some affordability to it. We all know there's a need for that. If we're looking at additional assistance, are there other reasonable requirements we can ask of a developer that would aid affordability if we're going to do that? And in doing so, do we make the gap bigger by doing, right, is that?
Right,
just
that,
getting this
that
cascading
weighs
cycle?
into that. There's the requirement from the tax credits that all of these units are at 60% AMI or below. There are some units there that are affordable for folks at 30% AMI, so you get some more affordability there. If you create more public purpose, obviously, there's a little bit bigger gap, but it's a reasonable expectation to ask for more public purpose. And so that's the conversation that we're continuing to have with the developer, is what else comes out of this in addition to.
Public purpose, I'm assuming the tax credits have a period of time that affordability must remain.
They do have a period of affordability.
Would it be, if we're asking for more assistance, can that period be extended? Because, right, I think we want affordability now, but we kind of also want it 30 years from now, right?
Right. And that will extend into 30 years, so.
Yep.
It's a little bit, right, it's a little nuanced, but yes, it'll extend to 30 years.
So I don't need answers to those questions. I think just like as we get those things figured out,
Yeah,
the
and
decision is different than the one we made a little
Right.
bit before, and I want to understand why it's
yeah.
different.
The affordability does get tied, though, to that. So if we want to extend that term, you certainly can do that, but it's going to be a minimum of 30 years that we're going to require that affordability.
Great. Those were my questions, if they were questions.
Others? I'm sorry, Mr. Johnson.
First of all, the 6 million is requested pretty ordinary stuff. It wasn't like we found a sinkhole in the bottom of the lot that we're looking at.
Right.
So $6 million sounds like a project that's almost out of control. What is there that would prevent them from coming back 3 or 6 months and saying, I need another 5 million?
Commissioner Johnson, members of this board, right now, that remains to be seen, but right now they're claiming with their current pro forma to the county is that with the prevailing wages, the expectation that those are gonna go up, the high price of building and housing costs, labor costs, and unique project designs, everything else, just contributed more to their financial pro forma that created this gap that they weren't expecting. And they approached us with a number of options and suggested, could we use this, could we use that? And, using our WAHA funds for that was ideal because we can use that for this type of gap financing. Using the pool TIF funds, this becomes a policy decision that has to be granted by the Dakota County Board of Commissioners.
Who made the $55 million estimate and started this?
I believe the developer did, the developers.
So he should be, there shouldn't be these kinds of surprises coming up. This is ordinary stuff. It isn't like we added more rooms,
I agree.
anything.
Yeah, hi, Lisa Alfson. I'm with the Dakota County CDA. I just can share a few things because it is a little, it's a big swing for all of us. But what I can share is this is the first year of tax credits and bonds that the state now requires prevailing wage. We haven't had that before, and so when our gap has been typically in that $1.72 million, now it's about 20% increase in costs. And there is a public purpose there, I would say, because people are getting paid a higher wage, but that comes with a cost. With the project decreasing in the number of units that occurred, that's a decrease in the revenue that the developer was assuming that they would have. In addition to another public purpose that happened with this project, which is a good thing for the tenants, is they're not paying parking. And that was a tune of probably about $1.2 million that they were thinking they would get in revenue each year. And that's gone. So there's just those costs that start to add up a little bit and to get to that more of that $6 million gap.
Who decided to change the parking?
That was at the Planning Commission.
Planning Commission.
Mr. Chair, with the unit reduction was also related to reducing building height?
Yep.
Right on the back side, so that took a couple of units out as well,
Took out 4 units.
or?
Ms. Grindle?
So just a comment. So, I mean, obviously, legislators have been encouraging more affordable housing. But on the other hand, now in 1 year, they put prevailing wages and they made the prices go up so crazy. I just, that doesn't make any sense to me.
I've seen TIF used successfully in a number of instances with my other hat on, and I'm thinking specifically of a tract over in Burnsville that was a roly-poly topography, and they needed most of that money to flatten it out. This appears to be a different animal where, as Mr. Hoopaw pointed out, we went into this because they said we don't need any more, and now they need more, and I would hate to think that's on purpose, but it did factor into our decision to go with them, so.
Since we have the benefit of the chair of our planning commission, can we discuss about what happened with the parking that?
Do you want
Planning
to?
Commission?
Sure. Do you want to tell me what the date on that one was for that? I'm just curious if I was there at that one.
Commissioner Kurtz, I'm not sure if you were there, but
was.
I believe it was discussed at the original first public hearing. There was a concern about the site being able to park itself with the 1.7 spaces per unit. I'm spitballing here. In effect, we were talking about providing for parking off-site, and there was a statement, I believe, made by the developer that if parking was free or not charged, more people are probably likely to park instead of pay for it. So they would park on site. So a recommendation was made or suggested that you take away the parking fee for, or to pay for the parking away, make it free. You'll encourage more people to park in the garages and on the parking lot where they should be parking. We're trying to avoid any off-street parking or on-street parking and trespass parking on the other sides of the site. So the benefit was take away the charged parking, make it free, have more people park. And the developer initially kind of bristled at it, but they agreed to it as part of their conditions of approval.
Yeah, I was not in attendance on that one, but I do know that when we had our public hearing, that there was a lot of residents that were very concerned
It was.
about the parking, extensions around. There was an area where I think a lot of children played or something.
Mr. Rupa?
Thank you. So can we just talk about what the requested action is here this evening, so we're all clear on,
Sure.
on what we're bringing forward? And then my part two of that is timing, right? If there's
Sure.
discomfort here, we need to talk about this more, we want more information. If this doesn't go tonight, what does that impact if we need to come back and do it later?
So at this point, you're being asked to just simply adopt a resolution of support back to the Dakota County CDA Board of Commissioners. It's simply saying that you're supporting the applicant or the developer's efforts to ask for TIF funding to help close their gap. You're not specifying an amount. The memo may indicate up to $4 million. It may be up to $4 million, or it could be as little as $1. We don't know. We're going to leave that up to the discretion of the Dakota County Board. At this point, we'd like to present this resolution to the next meeting, which I believe is coming up in a week. Next Tuesday, where I believe the executive director, Mr. Schertler, has said that at that meeting, they're going to bring it up for another discussion topic and have it set for a public, or asked to set a public hearing at the December meeting for a public hearing date in January of 2026.
So we kind of need to take action on this evening, is boiling that down.
Sorry, things changed, right? Sorry,
Thank you.
Tim. So, thank you. Just wanted to share that things have changed just a smidge, is that, the executive director, Tony Shortler, has decided that he would not like to bring that to the board next Tuesday. Things changed, live change. But we, because our board is also a little bit concerned about the size of the gap, right? And we're all trying to get our understanding, not just you and your position, but the Board of Commissioners, the CDA Board of Commissioners is also trying to get their arms around this gap. And so what he is hoping to do is to meet with them, and then the earliest that board will take consideration would be December, to set a public hearing in January of 2026. So that would still be a same time frame. But this is not, when we had originally talked, we thought the timeline was going a little bit earlier, but that this does not need to be considered at this time that would not impact the
Thank you,
CD.
Lisa.
Mr. President, I'm just listening to comments here, right? And if Tony's gonna have a conversation with the developer to better understand the gap, is that information that could come back here so we could also better understand the gap before taking this action? And how, worse that means is we probably have to call another special EDA meeting prior to another council meeting to do that. But is
Yes.
that acceptable to,
Yes.
does that work for CDA and you all if we don't have comfort moving forward tonight here?
I'm getting nods of approval, so we could call, your next regular meeting would be December 23rd.
And I'd rather see it, the TIF discussion, than a cheapening of the product. I don't want to see all the nice things with the design go away
I would agree.
to meet a budget. So,
We would agree.
And I think just understanding where that gap is, and maybe so we all understand it, this is an economic gap, not necessarily a project gap, and so there may be enough dollars to build it, but because of these other things, the long-term dollars don't work, and that's the gap. Am I correct on that one? So we just might need to lay that out a little better.
Yep.
We didn't add $6 million of amenity to the project boosting the cost, but we did take long-term economic value from them by the other things we did, and that's creating,
that's the whole
right,
thing.
so it's a $6 million gap over 30 years, not necessarily a $6 million gap at inception.
Sure.
Ms. Grindle.
Get a number, and I'm not sure if you said it about. Can we get a number on how much the prevailing wage has added to the project? Did we already talk about exactly that? It's kind of lumped in with other things, but I'd like to know that, so we can tell legislators, you're telling us you want more affordable housing, but then you do things like this, that's a negative to doing it?
That's a good point. Yep, that'd be good to understand.
We could get that information for you.
Okay.
So no action required, just we can move on from here. Is that correct?
Yes. We can table this to another special meeting if you're open to that.
Sounds prudent, yeah.
Thank you.
Do we need a motion for that?
Let me turn the microphone on. I believe, Mr. Chair, that you can just continue the matter to a date to be determined.
So no motion needed?
No?
Correct.
Okay,
You're not acting on the resolution.
let's leave it at that then.
Perfect. Thank you, Mr. President.
Any staff updates, anything, Tom?
Mr. President, in the interest of time, we have none.
Okay, motion to adjourn.
Second.
Moved and seconded, Hoopa and Grendel. Meeting adjourned. All in favor? Vote?
Aye.
We are adjourned.